Greetings and welcome. I am Joffrey and Dark is here. Though we do not have Vector this time, but this is the diary analysis for the 11th Tinto talk for EU5 thing. Yeah. Anyway, we're here to discuss the first part of Warfare. And have you... Is this another case of you having looked at it beforehand, Dark?
Of course, of course.
Yes, always.
Why wouldn't I have looked at it?
Always. He is supremely prepared, always.
Whoa! Analysis with no vector?
There. I was showing the wrong screen for a second there, goddamn. Very professional, very effective as always.
Forget to post it in announcements.
Everyone must know. Oh my
Everyone
gosh, fine. I'll make an announcement about it. I haven't... It feels bad though, because it's like most of the last few things we've been doing is this. I haven't been like doing other streams much lately.
Nope. Cope, see, then maybe even Mauled.
No, you're not first. You're not first. Aiden was there first. You lose, goat. I like this art that I'm staring at in the background though. Second, you're fourth. No, it's wrong. But yes, Vector could not make it to this one, unfortunately. It is just the two of us. No, stop. Okay. So. And of course, yeah, oh, wow, a feature breakdown of Winds of Change. Yeah, okay, what a surprise there.
We care a lot.
We care a lot about this video? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and you should definitely play someone else's YouTube video during your stream.
Nothing I should in fact, yeah. Well, what is it? What happens in this video? Because we can't do that.
I don't know, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about Winds of Change. I'm sure they're not showing anything that we don't know already.
EU4, not EU5. I mean, Project Caesar.
Has
nothing to do with Project Caesar.
And the fact that they keep the Project Tinto, I'm sure that Paradox Tinto is not posting EU4 related stuff relating to Winds of Change on the Tinto talks. I'm sure that there's no reason for them doing that in particular. Yes. Wow! Tinto with no vector.
Whoa!
Yes. We'll talk about military matters and the difference between levies, mercenaries, and regulars. Wonderful. Yes. Oh, I have hiccups. God damn it. I'm very much looking forward to see how this works, because there's a lot of different ways that a system like that can be done, and I'm curious how it will be managed. Vector with no Tinto. Now, Vector with no Tinto is he was playing EU4 by himself earlier today, but now he's out with his folks eating or something. I don't remember what he said.
Are you out there playing EU4 by yourself?
No. Lord. All right. So, military organization. That's... What? Oh, okay. Well, there's a very large number of types of units. They all belong to one of 4 different categories. Okay. Infantry, cavalry, artillery, or auxiliary? Auxiliary. Yes.
They're probably just shit infantry.
Let's... yes. I can't wait for... Wait. Infantry is usually the bulk of armies. Okay, here I was thinking, like, oh, what if levies? Levies are just like 90% auxiliary? They're just dreadful. But I don't know.
Oh, just wait, bucko.
Okay. I'll see. They make up the bulk of armies, and the other categories have specific roles, except, I mean, I'm sure that some factions will just have more of different types. But, Size of regiment varies over time with, oh, earliest regiments using 100 men, and the end of the game, it's about 3,200 men in each infantry regiment. Ooh. And the other regiments have different sizes. Do we have auxiliaries, which like, are they just like twice the size of infantry?
Just big
Imagine.
dudes.
Just get them in there. Just go. I want to be. Imagine being that one faction that has like tons of boosts to auxiliary troops. You just throw massive amounts of men into these shit regiments.
Of course.
We also categorize a regiment as a levy, a mercenary, or a regular regiment. Any army can freely rearrange those into any stack they want. Okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Split up the regiments as the player sees fit. So if you want a half mercenary company in one army and half in the other, okay, so you can actually split up mercs. That's interesting. Auxiliaries are, I'm pretty sure that term is meant, yeah, it's a term to describe supplementary forces, yes. Like Romans recruiting auxiliary Gauls to fight the other Gauls. But I don't know exactly what that will entail in regards to this game. I assume that auxiliary troops in this context is just going to mean irregulars. Whatever, it's just they're guys. They're probably just whatever weapons they've got. And there's multiple ways you could get them, I imagine.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Service guarantees citizenship. That's a. Where was that from? That's not Starship Troopers, is it?
Yes, that is Starship Troopers.
Oh God. We also categorize a regiment as either a levy, mercenary, or a regular regiment. An army can freely. Okay. An army can freely rearrange those into any stack they want. Yep. Okay. That was the other thing I didn't see. Okay. Yeah, levies. I guess you. Well, I guess maybe yeah. In the rest of this, they'll explain how the distribution works between who actually has regular troops. I'm sure there's some people that will have the ability to recruit regulars at the beginning of the game to a degree, at least, or maybe not. I don't know how this is gonna work yet. But hello, IC. Yes. No, I would not expect it to be supply at all. Auxiliary, no, because they say here as well that yeah, our artillery is its own type. So like we're not talking that kind of support. This is just like probably your really crappy infantry for the most part. Yes, no Vector. It is sad. It is a sad day. We can't make jokes about Victoria 3's warfare system to him.
I know.
And cause him to make funny remarks and go, oh, as he do. Yeah, he is, but Cairo and I are from even more north than that, so...
Hey, I'm from Michigan. I was also from cold area.
Yeah, but you ain't now.
It's now in my blood.
Toasty town. Horse. Right into, okay, horse archers. Ah. I was there. Oh. Oh.
It says so, with no explanation.
Yeah. So horse archers are then a type of cavalry.
Look at those numbers. Combat power, frontage, morale damage done, food storage, food consumption.
Initiative?
Combat speed and movement speed are separate.
What? How is there a speed for in combat?
Because actually, it'll load up a map just like Total War.
Oh, shut face. So there's okay. So I guess a hundred man unit, and on a monthly basis it requires manpower upkeep as yeah. And then what the heck is a frontage? Unit weight per strength. This is very interesting questions. And damage from attrition. So different units will get hurt more by attrition.
Attrition is
Maybe
gonna be worse.
maybe this means that, for example, artillery is not as heavily affected by attrition because there's like 5 dudes.
Well, theoretically, if this is monthly damage from attrition, it means if you're taking attrition, you could be losing 25% of the unit per month.
Yes.
However, I imagine it's probably 25% of the current strength, not the maximum strength.
Yeah.
So after the first month, it'd be 25% of 75. So you don't just die in 4 months.
Or it could be that there's different levels of attrition and that this is a modifier on top of that.
Perhaps.
I'm sure there will be different levels of it.
Although it's red, and red means bad.
It is bad, so maybe it's an even worse modifier. It just shows you just how bad it is. Maybe infantry, 50%. Nah, that would be.
Maybe it takes
that's stupid,
more damage because horses are harder to maintain.
That actually would make sense. Maybe, yeah. Also, the whole like food storage and consumption. I guess they can carry a lot of food, but then they also consume a lot of food, probably.
I mean, to be fair, horses sort of feed themselves. They eat grass. It's not hard to find.
Maybe the 10% is low. We don't know. But we'll see. Steppe horses should be good to live. Yeah.
Yeah. Horses eat grass. Unless you're in like a desert, it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, that's very true. It should be a much bigger armies for a bigger problem for massed armies of auxiliary troops. That's where I would imagine the biggest issues with food is. But if you have so many auxiliaries, maybe you don't care so much if they die. But then if they all die, then you're probably losing your actual population that you are wanting to go up. So, but requirements for maintenance, as we've seen in the economy, I can definitely see why they showed us the economy stuff first, because that's much needed context for this, because we know you need to use production methods to create the leather horses and weaponry required for these, and it's interesting that there's going to be various ways to accomplish that. And because okay. So construction, and then there's the maintenance, and it's a lot less. Thankfully, I mean it's a tenth the cost. The horses are only a fifth. It's actually which is fair. Yeah. You gotta upkeep the horse. The horses are much more difficult to upkeep than just
if a horse dies,
armor and weapons.
A horse dying is a bit more complicated to repair than
arrows,
a broken sword, or a messed up saddle.
Haunts. Riders from the steppe have specialized in 2 ways of mounted combat: lances or archery. So do we have horse archers and steppe lancers?
Of course, just like the Huns.
And this will be 90% of your army.
Of course.
Maybe.
What are you doing, steppe lancer?
That's what I wonder. Indeed, what is steppe lancer doing? Is the steppe archer stuck and needs steppe lancer to no? First of all, we have levies, where you can raise your able-bodied fighting men into a fighting force. This provides you with a lot of people who can fight for you, but the levies have a few slight drawbacks. First of all, you can only raise them when you are at war or facing rebels. Okay, so it's CK2. Secondly, when you raise your levies, those pops you raise them from are decreased in size to represent the pops going off to war, and any dead men in a levy is population permanently lost. Speaking of that, levies do not spawn with any experience to speak of, and you have no direct control over the types of units you get. Another slight drawback is that levies do not reinforce during a campaign either. Ooh. A province where the levies have been
Experience.
raised will also produce less food and raw materials. Ha! They do not replenish.
So they're just gonna be shit, and you want to get rid of them as fast as possible.
Just massive amounts of terrible troops that cannot replenish, and your country is suffering when you have them raised because your economy is built around said people working. Ooh, and you don't get any control over what types of units they are, so they're probably going to have a ton of auxiliary troops because auxiliaries are probably. I bet the more I think about it, that's probably the sort of thing you get when you think of like
Well,
typical in the history when you've got levies. Okay.
later in on, they do mention that you get a core army of actual regiments from your primary culture regions.
Oh.
If you
Oh.
scroll, you'll eventually see that.
Okay. Well, total of 1,200. Oh,
1,000.
yeah. 12,000. 12,000, not 2,000. 12,200 army levies will gather in all region capitals. Yep, it is CK2. So they raise up in the regions, and then you gotta bring them together. Oh boy. Vasa Gotaland. Just about the same from Upland. Interesting that really, yeah, Vasta is like going to be a very important region of Sweden. Huh. And it does, yeah, varies a lot for obvious, yeah, for many reasons, I'm sure. Everything all, yep, 12,000 men. Mercenaries. There are many mercenary companies available in the world, and each area has at least a few possible to recruit. However, these are not endless free manpower. What is that? Is that taking a jab at something? Endless free manpower? What a thing to say. As other nations may
Damn.
be recruiting them before you can. A mercenary company signs up for at least a 2-year contract. Okay, so then the CK3 mercs.
So you're saying I can't mercenary flood like I could in EU4?
I suppose so. Oh. Oh no! You can extend the contract if you so desire, and there's more on how mercenaries can be recruited in a later talk. So I do imagine that in the early game, in many places, mercs will just be objectively better than your levies, because they're like the closest thing to a professional army.
Probably.
They probably have like actually decent troop like dispersions and such. But your regular army consists of the regiments that you do not want to disband, and they require manpower to recruit. This recruitment cannot be done everywhere, though, as you need special buildings. Big yawn. So you need special buildings to allow the recruitment of military units. Usually, these are the same type of building that also provides you with manpower. Okay. As the ages go by, you could go from only some special buildings providing a minuscule amount of manpower to being able to build conscription centers in your core culture locations. Okay. So that's what you were saying about conscription stuff in your core
Yes.
regions.
Yes.
And that's later. Why can't I
Hmm?
conscript the people from the Rhinish Confederation? What if I don't? What? Why do I conscript my own French boys? I want to
Because they're
conscript the
loyal.
Confederacy of the Rhine.
They're the only loyal ones.
Oh,
And that's what the Rhinish folks are for. They're for the auxilia.
you're right.
Service guarantees citizenship. Then they can be French citizens.
Yes, you're right. I finally understand. Oh my God. We need our good French professional army to keep the Rhinish in line. Oh no. Oh no. Please, I need to know how culture conversion works. I must know. uh hmm. But yeah, it does where does it say something about the beginning? As it go from as the ages go by, you go from only some special buildings providing a minuscule amount of manpower. So it's gonna be less of a passing a law, I guess, to get to. It's not as much a case of you pass a law that's like, oh, we now just have a professional army now. Now we don't use levies, and instead is a case of you just naturally evolving over time to having a
Yes.
professional army by making it
The
happen.
army gets big.
So that answers my question, I suppose, about how they'll handle, like, how do you handle some people having a more professional army than others? They just have more buildings.
Just wait
They
until
have
you
more
play
buildings
China,
that do it.
Bucko.
Blob. Big blob.
Casual 100,000 man army dies.
Mm-hmm.
Is a drop in the bucket.
Oh dear, it appears the peasants are revolting. Time to raise the levies. 15 million peasants die. This shall help reduce the famine. It does not help reduce the famine, but you
Produce
can.
more
That's what you tell
food, and
people.
there's less
Yeah.
mouths to eat the food. 15 million peasants eaten.
Yes.
Decisive Qing victory.
Or whichever it was in that video, I don't remember. Yeah, it just makes me really wonder how cultural conversion is going to work. I want to know. I
Probably
love
similar
it.
to Victoria,
I must just absorb them.
or it's a
Similar to
sort of assimilation.
Similar to Victoria. It's I hmm. I mean,
You're not going to be
Victoria
spending
is,
bird mana to convert the province.
yeah, that's for sure. I would hope. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because Imperator and Vicky have basically the same concept of just, you've got your big old collection of cultures and faiths with all these pops, and some depending on how much influence you have over them, you'll get more or less cultural and religious conversion. Though it's different between Imperator and Vicky, because in Imperator it's using abstract units of this is a pop, versus Vicky and now EU5 where it is calculating every single dude as its own. Yeah, every single person is a pop, or yeah. So that will be I'll be very curious to see how that works. But I certainly hope that it's not exactly like Vicky, because in Vicky, cultural conversion is broken, sort of, because you can literally only convert people to your own. You can only convert people within your culture group, I think. So you can only
Also,
all you can do is like. Sorry.
cultural conversion is also worthless because you can just pass a law that bans racism,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then there's just no penalties.
Yep, it's true. I certainly hope that is not how this game works. I mean, then again, I mean, you could do something like that really late game. That it would feel more earned, but I don't really see the point in that.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
know. Why haven't we done that in real life? Why haven't we just passed a law to
exactly.
ban it?
Just like real life. You're right. You're right. Just like real life, we've all passed that law that bans racism. Exactly. You just end it. You
Yeah.
just say
Yeah, it
we
is
have passed the multicultural. Yeah. Oh, you didn't know about this,
yeah.
Aiden? Yeah. In
Yeah.
Vicky,
If you
there's a
pass
law. It's called
multiculturalism,
multiculturalism.
you get no penalties from wrong cultures.
It just happens now. Yeah.
Racism is just banned.
It's the equivalent of the well, yeah, it's the equivalent of the atheism religious thing as well. uh, so which means that you have no religious conflict either. Everyone cultural and religious conflict is just gone because we have decided it's gone. Uh but this game covers a big period of time where that's a big issue. So I doubt that that will be the case. Um I I want to see how it works. Woo. Manpower. Speaking of manpower, in Project Caesar, this is primarily generated by buildings. Now you may ask, why do we need manpower when we have pops? Well, for us, manpower represents the more or less semi-trained men that can be used in a military force. And what is important? Whenever a regiment loses strength, be it from attrition or combat, you will lose pops as well. Yes. Huh? Kurultai. Where is Kurultai? Yeah. Oh. There's Hendrix instantly like, the fuck is that? The fuck is that? Tell us. What is it? What is that? Where is it? Monthly manpower 50. Like it's just an image. It's an image of just like it's a hut.
This is a unique building for Mongol steppe hordes.
Oh. Oh. I like this. More of more of this, please. I like this. Give us
I don't
more.
know. In Vic 3, everyone has access to the exact same buildings.
No, I'm sorry. Oh, gosh. You know what? You're right, Dark. I lost myself for a second there. I forgot. We don't like unique content. We don't want unique buildings. We want everyone to have the same tools. I don't want the Mongols. This is not fair. The Mongols get more. They get this cheap. All they need is leather, stone, lumber, and weapons. I don't know what other people are going to need. I don't know what actually makes this different
Probably
or
something
unique,
similar.
but it's probably quite similar. But what realistically here? Required production method. Is like cloth there? Huh. I assume that the required production method. This is like the upkeep.
Yes.
This is cloth.
That is
paper.
Upkeep, and what's below is for building it.
Mm-hmm. 50 manpower might be high if we should get very little at start. Huh. That's a good point, Razan.
But if
maybe
you conquer it as someone that doesn't normally have it, does that mean you get to benefit from it, or does it get disabled?
Also a good question. I bet it's gonna work similarly. Well, you know how
If
special
you're Russia
buildings work.
and you conquer the steppes, does that mean you're going to have way more manpower than everyone else?
No. I think that there's probably going to be at least one check on like either you need to be the culture or a government type to be able to use it. Don't know which, maybe both, but pretty sure.
Or will it be local culture or government culture?
In most cases, I highly doubt it's local culture because in EU4 with special buildings, for example, some of them allow you to use it if you accept the local culture, but I highly doubt that's that'd be such a simple thing to make happen in this. Now, mind you, maybe this is the case, because I highly doubt it wouldn't make any sense. What I'm trying to say, it wouldn't make any sense if Austria gets the Netherlands doing Austria things. Suddenly, all the polders stop working. I don't. What?
The Netherlands floods.
Sorry, flush. But I imagine that this, this is going to be something that's interesting, because this will allow Mongols to probably at game start have an oddly professional army, where you can actually determine for yourself a lot of what your troops are. Meaning you can determine that, yes, I'm going to have more of these horse archers, please.
50 does seem high if it's for every single location on the map.
Yeah. That could end up being quite a bit. Though perhaps its output is affected by something? Control, perhaps?
Probably control.
That would not surprise me at all. So it may be quite likely that if you build these in places farther out, well, even your capital is unlikely to be. I don't think that. I think we've established that your capital doesn't have 100% control, or at least is most likely to not even at game start. So anywhere you build these, it's likely to be reduced. But yeah, I think the point is still the case that, like, yeah, these Kurultai buildings, for example, are just a thing that Mongols will be able to make, and it'll be probably an easier building to make than most people, just a cheaper and more readily available building than most people can to just get manpower. Maybe, I don't know. Different resources as well, probably. It probably needs more leather than otherwise, for example. That's one thing I might guess. And yes, you will lose. It did say you will lose pops from attrition. Just that's so interesting that you'll be like you're doing a siege, and just the longer the war drags on, and the more of your levies that get killed, or the more of your manpower that gets drained and refills, the more people are dying that wouldn't be otherwise. Just interesting. One other aspect to take into account when it comes to manpower is that Project Caesar does not have force limits. But instead, you are limited by how many regiments you can maintain. Very interesting. Every regiment requires some manpower each month to maintain the current level of troops. Huh.
That is very similar to Vic 2.
Is it now?
Yes. You'd have regiments that your pops could maintain based off soldier pops in states. That would determine the number you could recruit, and you could not recruit more than that. It just would not allow you to. And if you ever started losing those pops, whether it be by war or them just changing job, that unit would just stop reinforcing. And if it took enough damage, it would just delete itself.
I am really liking this so far. This is. I mean, there can only be so much left in this dev diary, but I am.
Oh, it's not a very long one.
Yeah, exactly. This is yet another case of something being done in EU5 that just makes the game feel more natural, less artificial, and just flows together, where all the aspects of the game just feel such a natural ebb and flow, where your actions have consequences and you can foresee what they are, and it's just this sounds so satisfying to learn and play effectively, and to try out different ways of playing the game. Boy, it makes me so excited. But, because I could so see it being a case of you just really you could really want to just rely on vassals. I can see it as like a early game as well in this case. It's like, just have your vassals fight the wars, you know. Have your vassals raise up your army. You raise a little bit. I don't want my pops getting killed, you know. Just let those men from the border, they can go get killed. The professional army will stand by just in case, you know. Or you play some city in Italy. You play Florence, and you who's the power? I think Pisa is actually more powerful at this point. But the point you play some cosmopolitan Italian city, and you just do very minimal conflict and warfare, and you instead try to just spend all of your resources on building up your cities, build up your populations, and play tall. Maybe, I mean, you could do the same thing as the Netherlands. I'm sure that the Netherlands would be a very fun faction with this sort of game, where you unite the Netherlands and then you just let yourself build up tall until you can go colonize, and then you can use said pops to go, I don't know, colonize. You gotta go colonize Brazil or something, and make some polders in the swamps. Or, goodness. I love a good rant. Polders, reclaim
What about my
the
tulip
Brazilian
farms?
swamps. That's true. They're probably worth a lot of money. But you got to make sure that you've invented. You need to research pyramid schemes first. Otherwise, they are only 1/4 as effective. Otherwise, people won't invest in the tulips that haven't been grown yet. Do, 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 do. Fair amount of goods each month. If it does not have access to it, morale will drop and it will not be able to reinforce or maintain its current strength. Just bad if you run out of resources. Blockading someone during war, if they're getting lots of resources from trade, sounds like it will just end them. That's just
England moment.
Yeah. If you stop England from
Don't
getting
worry,
its supplies.
we will establish the continental system.
Aye, buddy. Aye.
That worked, trust me.
Units have said what? As you may have noticed in some of the screenshots above, units do have a fair bit of unique attributes. Huh? I don't know. Well, yeah,
Frontage,
okay,
combat
yeah.
speed, and movement speed.
We did look at, yeah, horse archers showed a lot of stuff there. Discipline, which impacts damage taken and damage done. Military tactics, which impacts damage taken. Army morale, which impacts how long your armies are willing to fight before breaking. And infantry, cavalry, artillery, and auxiliary power, which impacts damage done for that category. So yeah, when they list it all out like that, it sounds very much like EU4. Basically, all of these are word for word taken from EU4. Though I guess the addition of auxiliary units is a good thing. And I guess they're breaking it down. That's the key thing. I'm not giving them enough credit. The fact that they showed horse archers as an example, it shows that they are actually breaking it down into subcategories. So it's not just a case of you're at this tech level, this is what your infantry is. Your infantry is all just this now, and there's no nuance to it at all. Choose the one that gets an extra point of attack versus the one that gets an extra point of defense. There is also army tradition. Oh my god!
Yes.
Wow, this really is March of the Eagles. I think you're right. I think this is.
It has to be March of the Eagle. There's no other option.
You're right. I have to relent. Discipline, military tactics, army morale, infantry, cavalry, and artillery combat power, and then army tradition. These are all classic March of the Eagles things, and not in any other Paradox game. Army tradition is gained primarily from the average experience of your army. Keep talking about experience. Oh boy. It can be increased by drilling them. It impacts the morale and siege ability of your armies, while also slowly pushing you towards land on the land versus naval society values. Oh?
You showed us the sliders earlier.
Oh. Hmm. So it really is a case of you basically need to pick, or
And shoot.
just sit in the middle. I guess Britain, even well, Britain. I don't know. I don't know. Britain did everything pretty well for a long time.
No, not really.
Britain had a
Don't
good
forget.
army. What do you mean?
Don't forget. They chopped their king's head off.
Well, a lot of people did that, to be honest. The Bohemians, on the other hand, they were throwing people out windows, so I think they really had it. They really understood what was up.
They did. They did know.
They also had war wagons.
Oh boy, the best unit.
Yeah. Total War Warhammer proves that war wagons are the most effective tactic. Hmm. This is not everything related to military, as we have a talk about the navies, talk about logistics, and a talk about our combat system planned as well. Next week, we'll be back with something completely different. No! No!
Yep. No more army. No more army.
No, come
Help.
back! Come back! No! Something completely different and rather new and unique features. So it's going to be a real
Development.
gimmicky one.
Mana.
I guess that's never I've never seen development or mana before. It's probably what it is. Yes.
The front line system.
Well, it talks about frontage. The fuck is frontage?
Rude.
Why can't I hover over this tooltip? I want to hover over this tooltip, please, Johan, please.
He suffers.
I do. I suffer without my stone.
Look at the dev responses. We might get something. I actually haven't looked at those yet.
I highly doubt. No, there's no way. Dev responses. How many dev diaries do you have scheduled? Many. The answer is yes. Choose the rulers. Here's history. What? I don't know what. Okay, whatever. Cavalry will sometimes move faster. Okay, so I guess mountains they slow somehow. Battle during. No, Johan, it's a simple question. There's battle movement and movement. There's
Nope,
two different
won't answer.
movements. Explain! Explain! Oh. Next week is not part of military. Non-accepted pops. Can I specifically raise levies? Can I specifically raise levies in non-accepted culture provinces? And have my unaccepted pops fight and die in my wars while my core pops are insulated? See? He gets it. This is what I is saying. But the volume, so it's just the volume of levies you get is far less, though. Or likely to be? I wonder what impacts that.
Well, you get the non-accepted people are less likely to want to fight and die for your country that they're not accepted in.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of ways you can justify it, but I wonder how functionally it will work, because he's just saying the volume is likely to be far less. It's like, what impacts that? Is it just the control? Is the fact that it's non-accepted going to have a flat modifier that says non-accepted? What does cultural acceptance look like? Is there a meter? Is there a law? I think we've seen something where they talked about cultures having mutual opinions of each other and opinions of you. Their opinions of
It's
you,
probably
each
just
other,
a
and
culture.
your
It's
opinion of them.
probably just if a culture is accepted by the government or not.
Eh?
That's probably it. Probably just that. I think you're overcomplicating it.
No. Not. I'm not. I'm complicating it just the right amount.
Nope.
So you're telling me that all the people who die for me so I can own more land do not come back? Yes, people die. No, I'm not overcomplicating it, Aiden. I listen to me. You must listen to my crackpot ideas. Don't listen to this darkest light. He is trying to simplify and smooth your brains over to the possibilities.
I don't remember what it's called, but it was just the idea that the simplest reason is probably the correct reason.
No. Mm-mm-mm. If manpower is a separate mechanic and combat losses from regular regiments are also deducted from your pops, how does the game determine which provinces pops the casualties are spread over? Or is it just divided equally? Some nice abstractions we use. I imagine that is not too difficult, relatively speaking, to deal with abstractly, because you can probably figure out proportionally what when you can take all of the places that produce your manpower, all like the places where you've got those buildings, and then you take the culture of those buildings. Now that's probably a lot of number crunching, but that's what these guys love doing. They love making code that crunches numbers together. So that's probably what they do is figure out proportionally what culture, what like pops rather, and where are being taken from to generate the manpower, and then chop those people. Do cannons be a distinct resource? We'll be able to have 87 cannons in my army. Artillery will definitely use guns.
Gun.
Okay. And you have to make guns.
Guns are separate from weaponry.
Oh, yeah, because weaponry is just an image of like a halberd and sword, I think. So, yeah.
Are your troops melee or ranged? If they're ranged, you can shoot them from 3 locations over.
Well, one thing I'm wondering is because we know there's things like, all right, there's horse archers, but there's also lancers. Is this something so is it going to be the same thing as EU4 where you just say all of my horses are this? So it's just
Probably.
I've just got horse archers or I've just got lancers, or is it that your army, if when you raise a levy, it will be made up of a bunch of different types of infantry, for example, or auxiliaries?
Probably. And yes, Resin, it's probably just guns. It's probably not separate. I can't imagine they'd want to make one that's that niche.
I wouldn't be too surprised, but I don't really see the need for it either. Yeah, it's probably the same sort of places that are going to be manufacturing your firearms are the same sort of places you'd be getting artillery from. So I don't know how this early game. I bet that your artillery is not going to be cannons. You're probably going to have artillery at the beginning of the game, but you probably make it in a different way than how you do later. That would be my understanding. I bet that you'll have trebuchets, and you make those somehow. And you'd probably need those for your boats. The boats at this period of time, I'm pretty sure, had cannons on them. It's pretty easy to stick the cannon on the boat, and the boat moves
Not in
around.
37, I don't think.
Well, it was a lot earlier, is the point. that people are sticking guns on boats. Hmm. But yeah, my hope is that the way that this turns out is that we have early game. You'll have your different types of you'll levy troops, and it'll just give you a big old mismatch that you can't control what types of units it levies, and it will have different types even beyond that, where you'll have some like different types of infantry that it will raise, just to make it more interesting like that, as opposed to just based on your level of tech, you like pick a number. Just pick like this or that one. Though once you though I bet that once you could when you've got more of a professional army, I'm sure that you're able to then, when you're creating your regiments, determine what those professional units are down to the letter. But the levies, it says you can't control which type. And that's why I suspect that in the case of levies, you'll have your just massive amounts of troops, and they'll all just be whatever. Moving along. Yeah. So they're keeping the whole drilling units to give them a experience thing, and then you gain army tradition based on that. So they're just tweaking some older stuff and combining things, because there was the whole discussion about how army professionalism army professionalism and army tradition being different things wasn't really something they wanted to do. It was just something where they were like, this is another thing we can invent that will make people spend money. So it's probably for the best that they're getting combined. Is there only one trade good representing all weapons? It's guns and weaponry. There we go. It's just guns and weaponry. So maybe even early on, it will literally just be like even a trebuchet, if that's a type of artillery you can make. Maybe it's a thing you can do. I don't know. But maybe that would be an example of early game. You don't even need guns for that at all. And it would just be weaponry, and then you slowly are moving away from it into using more and more guns. Any new map to show us, even a sliver?
Nope.
Not
None.
today.
Don't deserve it.
I've been such a good boy. I've been so patient.
Nope.
I mean, we did see the vague outline of a lot of Western Europe last time, so I can't complain all that much. And I really like what I've seen for the HRE. I really like it very muchly. Manpower will allow for a limit. You can store up to 10 years of production of manpower. Okay. Your regulars need friendly territory to reinforce. And mercenaries can be bribed. So I think it's so I guess the actual, yeah, it's a lot of Imperator.
Makes offense much harder, because you won't reinforce after a battle inside enemy territory.
You're gonna have to straight up march your whole army back, or split off part of your army to leave some of them to siege and others to go back.
Occupations count, because it says friendly territory, not owned territory. However, if it's like Victoria 2 at all, you replenish the most in your own country. You replenish a little in occupied land and nothing in enemy land.
I mean, that is like EU4 does the same thing. EU4 does the same thing, except you can when you're in enemy territory. But yeah, this is like sounding to me exactly like what Imperator does. So, especially with the whole mercenaries being bribed thing, that's a big deal in Imperator, actually. Stealing other people's mercs. I like that someone does not like this. I want to reinforce what I'm sieging. I want to reinforce an enemy territory.
Mauled.
Those men, they have to make their way all the way to me, even though it's not controlled. I don't control this territory, but they have to come by themselves. Those like 35 dudes. They need to come here right now. Make the Azores more than one location. Do it.
Okay.
It being 3 makes sense. I had no expectation of it being only one. It's 3 in wait, the Azores aren't in the Canaries are what I'm thinking about. The Canaries are in CK3 and in each they're split into a bunch. But that's different. Mercenaries present on the map or the off map. So yeah, asking if it's more like Imperator or EU4. Price for ale goes up and mercs are present. That would be funny. Be a kind of off map. I guess they maybe function similarly to the way that these off map nations are going to be, where you can interact with them like that. Huh.
Possible.
Mayhaps. Regiments gain XP from fighting. They do, okay. Yeah, they do gain XP from fighting. That's good. They lose it from fighting in EU4 because they die and then you have to drill them again to get the drill back. Or building in a random location. Maybe. What build? What are you saying that in reference to? What? Oh, the mercenaries. That's what you're referring to. Yeah. I don't think they'd be tied to a building.
Probably to a region.
They probably have a region that is like the place that they kind of hang out, similarly to the unlanded nations. They're also probably tied to an area, a vague region at least, somehow. And unit weight is related to attrition. There are naval levies.
Yes. This is what we were needing.
Naval levies. Oh boy. I cannot wait to yoink all of my estate's boats. Oh, that's gonna be wonderful. When they are killed. When they're killed? Oh no!
Where were you when Levy was killed?
No! No! Yes. Is there a possibility to have 2 or more different types of cavalry, like lancers and archers mixed, and like in EU4 where you have only one type of cavalry? Yes. Bing, 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 bing! Joffrey was right. You can have
Joffrey is a happy boy.
He's a happy boy. That's going to be a lot of fun to mod then. I am looking very forward to modding that because all right, if you've got steppe horse archers, that means that is different from like in Western Europe. How far can you break this down? Do the Dutch have unique infantry, for example? Who has unique stuff? How spread up is it? Yes, they do.
No, not really.
They do.
Nah, not really.
Don't make me drag Valar in here to tell us about the Frisians and their pole vaulting infantry again.
He's not online.
Well, curses.
Can't threaten me, boy.
Well, if he was here, he'd say something about how the Byzantines are special and good. Oh yeah, Aiden. It's just the Frisians and their pole vaulting infantry. There's nothing to worry about.
They also rode on bikes.
According to Valar, apparently the Frisians in the past used to straight up just have a bunch of these poles that they would use to navigate their marshy climate, and when war came to their region, they would actually have light infantry that would just pole vault between the marshes and the and just scare people. And it would be terrifying to see because you'd be your army marching through the marsh, and then these people would show up with their poles bounding around. But anyway, if Hendrix is still here, whoa! Think of the unique. You can just imagine Hendrix. You can play as India, but not your cavalry does not literally all need to be elephants. What?
100% of them need to be.
You can
100%.
you can have actual horses? I didn't think they did that in India. Cuz in EU4 it's just elephants. I never considered. Anyway, I'm very happy about this. I can't wait to raise some haggard ass auxiliary troops. I want to see what the different auxiliaries are. uh, auxiliary. This is the Dutch Golden Dog, the Golden Dog militia with their freaking town guard. Golden Dog, the back shoe over the head. I imagine important people like that would be scripted. Okay, yeah. Combat mechanics will be improved greatly. He likes Excel. The usual visual representation of combat. Numbers.
I like dice rolls. I think that the units should only throw dice at each other, and that's it. It's not frustrating at all when I roll somewhere from a 0 to 3, like 4 times in a row.
He's not saying yes or no. He's not saying yes or no in regards to the dice. Though him saying I like Excel implies that there's going to be more abstraction because he's been I mean, and there's been a ton of abstraction so far. And then with things like frontage and there's a lot of modifiers being calculated here. They might not deal with dice rolls as much. We'll have to see though. I'm very curious to find out. Unfortunately, we're going to be busy dealing with whatever the hell new thing they really want to talk about next time. But I can imagine that if there's something new and interesting, they really want to talk about it earlier, where they actually have a chance to potentially change it if everyone sees it and goes, no, this is dreadful, the worst thing ever, please take it away, never bring it back.
Probably unique content, and we all know that that's not good.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to show us their unique content, or we're going to throw it back in their face and tell them, fire everyone who made this and give us more mechanics designers.
Exactly.
Is the manpower? I think I'm starting to believe. Is the manpower you raise for armies directly your pops, or is it manpower? Yes, it's an abstracted layer. The unit stats types easily moddable. We have code. Ooh.
Age 1 Traditions Cavalry.
Let me just grab a screenshot of this real quick.
Uh-oh. He goes from designing men-at-arms to designing regiments.
Well, you know it's true. I'm not even gonna pretend that that's not what I want to do. Copy from AH1 Traditions Cavalry. Huh. So that's how they grab bonuses. They grab bonuses from it's actually it's an actual text directly here. I can copy and paste that. They're taking the code from somewhere else where it says Age 1 Traditions Cavalry. But how does that Age 1 Traditions Cavalry. Age 1 Traditions? What are age 1 traditions? Do traditions change? Do you get different modifiers over time and they change and evolve? Do I get to pick them? Do we get to choose how my society evolves? Is that a thing? Eh? Is this like
No.
the way
Nope.
do they like maybe replace national ideas and national traditions? The national, yeah. Instead of, maybe they replace ideas and traditions and then like mush it together in some sort of overarching. As the game progresses, you
Well,
pick
if you look at that, it
bonuses.
says copy from. That likely
Yeah.
means that's a sort of generic default one in the code you're seeing here are the deviations.
Oh, that
So
that
it's
has to
take
be it.
all the stats from age 1 cav, but then change these.
So the just there is a baseline. This is just what age 1 cavalry is like, and then it is modified in different ways from there for the different types of cavalry. So the horse archers get their strength, morale damage, initiative, movement speed done, presumably different, or maybe there's something else that this is grabbing specifically. I don't know, but the combat being affected here is also interesting. My opinion has been logged as being overly optimistic and has thus been ignored. Is this in reference to
The
the
elephant.
elephants?
Yes.
No, I think it's correct. I think my opinion is correct and shall be it shall be acknowledged. Please. But grasslands and sparse. That's interesting. I suppose sparse is the equivalent of drylands then.
Step.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Of course, grasslands and steppe. That's where they would have their bonus. That makes perfect sense. They just don't want to call it steppe because steppe is something that you associate with a certain region of the world. And when you look at EU4 and you see Alberta, my province, in real life, being described as steppe, I tell you that's accurate. But it is also weird.
The throat singing of Alberta.
Oingdo. The grasslands and sparse wasn't shown in the unit card. Yes, that is true. It was not shown in the unit card. Is this a hidden modifier somewhere? Is this not easily accessible knowledge? And then, of course, GFX tags. Oh, speaking of GFX, Dark, if you let me have those frickin' generic unit GFX, I'm going to. Joffring needs unique unit GFX. Okay? I'm not vanilla Western Europe. I'm not.
Alright, I'll give you the French ones.
Okay.
Nah, actually, you like that too much. I'm going to give you something different. I can give you the German ones.
You're just flip-flopping each side of the Rhine and waiting to see if I care about one more than the other? Is that what's going on here?
Fine. I'll give you the English ones.
Mm-hmm.
Keep pushing and I'll give you the Chinese ones.
But you need the Chinese ones. What do you mean?
There are many countries with China in China. Yeah, you know what? Fine. I'll give you the Vijayanagar ones.
No.
Vijayanagar doesn't exist.
No. Wait. Yeah, it does. What do you mean?
No, it doesn't. Not in our game. Not in the Mega.
Why not?
Because it doesn't.
What?
No, it doesn't exist in the Mega. Why would it?
What? It's what? You're confusing me.
What do you? It doesn't exist in the Mega, so
why doesn't it exist in the Mega?
Its unit graphics are free. Because it was never formed.
But it's that's not in the CK3 region.
Yes, it is. It's in southern
It's not.
India. The big yellow country in southern India.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. I
Who
thought you
did
were saying let's
who
not
did you
worry
think?
about
Did
don't
you
worry
think I was
about
talking
don't,
about Marsha Pahit?
don't worry about who I was talking about.
Did you think I was talking about the Indonesians?
Don't I could have been thinking about all sorts of things. Don't worry about it. Don't, don't you worry yourself about it, Dark.
Hendrix, you should fucking kill this guy.
Yes, he needs to join. He needs to join the game so he can kill me.
Yes.
Then again, if he can't even play Call of Cthulhu,
You
ain't
know
no
what?
way he's got time to play
You know what?
in the mega campaign.
I'll put Vijay Anagar in Java.
But yeah, you're gonna stick it as a one county place, just like in the middle
No, I'll
of
just replace Marsha Pahit with it. Bet I won't.
Oh god. Hello, Johan. Regarding military units, special types of units. The horse archer are an example of special units. How special are the special units then? How common are they? Does this mean like most people in so I guess most people in Western Europe will just have the generic Western European units? Maybe?
Probably.
You cast spice intolerance for an undisclosed duration on me.
Okay, let's be real, Hendrix. Do you really think Joffrey can get any whiter?
You in fact, you already know. My spice intolerance is already maxed out. You can't hurt it anymore.
He'll get
damn, that water is
mild.
too spicy.
He'll get mild sauce at Taco Bell and be like, "Oh, I'm fucking cooking right now, guys." Face just beet red, sweat pouring down his face.
I think this water's too spicy. I need to go get myself some milk real quick.
Spice intolerance on Joffrey. Who do you think you are? This guy has pineapple on his pizza. Pineapple and ham. Like the least spicy meat on the planet.
Yeah. It's the only kind of meat that doesn't make my tongue burn. Is ham. Or chicken. With pineapple. Yes. You must know this. Imagine actually drinking milk and not eating some yogurt. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, but I spice my yogurt.
Oh, stay away from me then, because the mere presence causes pain for me, as we've established. Is raising levies instant, or does it depend on how much control you have? Reinforcements work. Levies take time to spawn. If it's all in one region, it's even slower than local. The French army will not reinforce in German lands. That raises more questions than I had before, though. I was thinking here, cut and dry. If you occupy land, you can reinforce. But now it's saying the French army will not reinforce in German lands. Does this mean if I am navally invading Britain, I need to get back off of Britain to reinforce?
Yep. It's gonna suck. They're gonna be unfucking killable.
That's gonna be rough, buddy.
But the same thing applies for England trying to conquer the continent. Actually, no, because they'll start with some land down there.
More than some. They have quite a bit.
But once they're pushed off, it's gonna be mighty hard.
Aquitaine, Normandy, they have the staple port. It's gonna be good. They got some good land. Current location market. At the moment, it's what? Is there any negative to
The
having a large
location that
standing
they're in.
army?
So if they're like built in Kiev, but you're big Russia, so you march them over to Siberia. They'll use like the Vladivostok market to reinforce and get their needs met instead.
Oh. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Negatives to having large standing armies and lots of manpower buildings. Yeah, the negative to having a large standing army is that people are not infected, endless supply, yes,
Unless you're
and
China.
unless you're China. But unless you're China or a united India, uh, people are not
Well,
an endless resource.
you do have the glorious Delhi Sultanate at this start date, so I
That's a
mean,
good point.
it is the greatest group to ever rule India.
They will be the biggest human wave tactic action, I am sure. God damn. Oh. But everyone's gonna hate you so much.
Doesn't matter. They hate us because they ain't us.
That's right, which is why you need to have your core professional army centered around your capital, with all of the levies being those poor, unreligious and culturally converted people from the rest of the country who can die for you. Oh no, how do you feel about that, Hendrix? How do you feel
Well, he
about
said he's
that?
gonna make himself some food, so I don't know if he's here.
Oh, no, he's still here. He's still definitely here. He didn't leave. He never leaves.
He would never leave you. He would
Yeah, he
never. He
would
couldn't.
not.
He couldn't. He wouldn't betray you like that.
Nope. He needs to stay and listen to me talk about how awesome
Oh,
the Delhi Sultanate's going to be to play.
uh-oh. Look at donkeys.
We just came back. What did I miss? Okay, buddy. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, Hendrix, we were talking about how great the Delhi Sultanate was.
Yeah, because you didn't hear it. You totally did not. Because you were away, right? Oh, you
Oh,
did?
yeah, like I said, the Delhi Sultanate was great.
Yeah,
That
the
is
Delhi. Yeah.
genuinely what we were talking about.
Yeah, the Delhi Sultanate's great, and I can't wait to play them and build a professional core army around my capital where all of the people are the correct culture and religion, and then levy massive amounts of human wave soldiers from the rest of the country so that they can die instead. Which era of the Delhi cringe? Yeah. This is the end, because it's 1337. This is the end of it. They are very much going to implode any second. Unless I play them, because I'm great at everything. Augers? Okay. Yeah. Auxiliary units are a support unit. It's a support.
Donkeys. Maybe they're not the
Donkey.
auxilia that I thought they were.
So, donkeys in Imperator Rome were auxiliary units. Meaning that actually Rezond was right?
Uh-oh.
Oh. Well, this is a little sad. Go me. Damn. I don't want donkeys.
Cope.
What does it do? What's the point? I don't want
Carry food.
support you. What? Hmm.
You guys gotta eat.
Who's calling me? I don't know who that is. I'm getting lots of cumbers. Cumbers? I'm getting lots of calls from random numbers I don't know lately, and that's what scares me. I'm getting so many cumber.
Cumberland.
Timur is going to be in the game.
Duh.
Is Timur not around at this point? Is that why there's
Not
a
yet.
question? So he's
Remember,
gonna just show up at some point
I
somewhere
mean, I remember he
somehow.
kicked Ottoman ass, and I think it was like 1405 or something.
Hmm. Okay. So he'll be a thing that shows up somehow, I guess. Okay. More interesting conflict. Like you have to look forward to and watch out for when Timur shows up. It's like he's gonna fucking stab you.
Yes.
Hmm. I wonder what Persia looks like at this point then.
Messy.
Probably. Probably rather messy. Regiments that have taken manpower from attrition. Every month some manpower is rotated out. Yeah.
People
Just
die.
just people die, you gotta replace it. So that's why yeah, you all of your regiments require a passive upkeep. Levy's based on a per province basis. Yep. Which is exactly what I wanted, and I am very excited to see this happen.
Which more do you want to do?
Oh, is he getting tired, is he? Oh,
No.
he's getting a
Just
little
wanna
fed up.
just want to make sure, make sure.
I'm not seeing any repeat questions yet, so I'm not feeling fatigue. Um uh, and yes, you can mobilize partially your levies. Army professionalism, yep, that's just merged with tradition. Wars levy is ended and levies are disbanded. Do they go back to what? Yeah, they still live someplace. What do you mean? Will they randomly be allocated somewhere in the nation? Yeah, that would be a little weird. To be honest,
They just
it would be a little.
ignore their families and just go somewhere else.
Is it? They just live where you lower them now. You just settle them down in this new spot. Oops. Guess we conquered this new region and we're gonna settle all these new soldier peasants here now. Yamas has to become the mercenary capital of Europe, constantly renting out highly trained armies to the highest bidder. And there would in fact be systems where you could do that. The Switzerland grind set is sounding more and more possible, making the Switzerland banking and mercenary industries go through the roof. Yes. Sounds like a rather good time. Build tall in the mountains, yes. You got to steal that gold mine before before the Austrians grab it. They can't have
It's
it.
actually a silver mine.
The silver mine.
Yeah.
Steal the silver mine. Don't let them have it. Get the Austrians out of here. The Schwarzer silver mine, but it's a gold mine because there's no such thing as silver in EU4. But there is silver, or at least gold. I don't actually know if we've seen if silver is a thing yet. It's probably not. It's probably just gold again. I don't know why they would make silver its own thing, to be perfectly honest. Because they function the same from a materialistic standpoint. It's just that one's more valuable than the other. How does combat work with different regiment sizes? Yeah,
it's designed.
It's designed for that.
It works because it's just been set up to work.
It's been set up to work for regiment sizes. How does it work? It does.
The unit, it works.
I don't. It is a strange question to ask because it's like, how does it work? It knows how wide the unit is and it puts it in. How does it work? It do. Yes, exactly. Do armies and units no longer gain tradition? Okay, yeah, they do. This is the first repeat question. So page 3 is probably going to be the last one I'd want to do then. Because this is, as soon as you see one repeat question, that's usually when it gets built set, employ peasants, military recruited, 5,000 manpower. If I have plus 1 manpower in this location, only if the unit takes losses will pops down. Yeah, okay. The system seems a lot like a hybrid. Yeah, it is a hybrid of the last few systems, yeah. Except Vicky, because that one's bad. Longbowmen be special. There will be unique longbow units. Let's just ask him what all of the unique units are, please. It doesn't sound like it. Like it's not like they're going that complicated with what the different unique units are. So I'm like, they probably have a ton of them, and it looks like it's going to be extremely easy to mod it too. So, yeah. Drawbacks to losing half of your. What do you mean? What do you mean? Are there any drawbacks to losing half of your male population in a war? The drawback is you have now lost half of your population. Good job. They're all dead now. Mercs don't so mercs don't affect pop and region, the pop and region they're from. They do, but they're not visible units on the map. That's an interesting one. So, does this mean that mercs are in fact tied to a population and it will drain that population? It's just that, or does it mean that it is a hidden pop?
Yes.
I guess it's a hidden pop that's not like attached to someplace.
Yes.
That's what you think, Dark? Yeah.
I don't know. Not really. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes. Yes to both. It do. You can't have it drain the player's pop. I don't know. Or is this a joke about pop as in soda? Or is this you actually trying to say, because this is either you making a joke about how the game is not capable of drinking your pop, or are you saying that the mercenaries shouldn't
really
be able to steal a player's
soda joke?
I do think he is. No, he's not. He's making okay. Well, I do think that it's quite possible for it to drain a player's pop, because I think because there's a way somehow that you're able to make your own mercenary companies. So I think that mercenary companies are in fact tied to a region on the map, and they probably are somehow tied to pops of that region to a degree. Now, it's possible that the ones that you don't create, maybe they can just exist without you creating them. I'm sure they do, in fact. And maybe it doesn't always affect your population. I don't know how that will work, but they're taking pops from somewhere. Though it says they are not visible units on the map. Not sure exactly what he means by that, but Johan questions it. Raise more questions. As many questions as the answer. Yeah. How strong are regular mercs compared to levies? Yeah, I do. I mean, makes sense to me that a small, rich country could theoretically just have a small professional army and just use a lot of mercs to fight. Yeah. Depending on which enemy you fight, yeah. Lots of context space. Are you restricted to? Yeah, you can mix and match. Because yeah, this makes sense. This makes a lot of sense. This is finally I will be able to have my long-awaited pike and shot, where you can have a period of time where you still are making a lot of weaponry, but you don't want that as much anymore, and you're trying to move away to be making more guns, but you just don't have enough guns, and the guns aren't good enough on their own. So
I think the British used lancers into the 1800s.
Oh boy. The what is that? the charge of the Light Brigade thing. That's what that was. Lances on horseback.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking you should be able to raise levies before the war. Oh, so the AI was exploited when they allowed that. That makes sense why they would disable it then. I was just thinking, I don't know, it's just CK2 logic. I didn't think about the fact that
yeah,
it
the AI wouldn't understand that it needed to raise its dudes. So you just
exactly.
have all your dudes raised and then just go in and quickly snipe them as they're raised.
Yeah. And would probably just tank its income for the most inane things. Can my location be depopulated because they all joined them? Can my location be depopulated because they all joined the merry company that was slaughtered somewhere 2 islands away? Yes. Well, that answers the other question we were debating earlier. Yeah, exactly. Hey, answer. That's awesome. I love this. All of my pops joined the merry company and were slaughtered 2 Irelands away. No. Oh, I can't wait to be creating my Swiss mercenary bands and then having the French get them all murdered, fighting the entire HRE. Though the HRE is going to be so huge, surely it'll work differently. I don't know. I don't know how that'll work. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe that's what we're discussing next week. Surely next week it's the HRE mechanics, right? No, it's
Nah,
not.
that doesn't exist.
That's going to take forever. That's going to take forever to talk about. And it do exist. In fact, it exists better than it does in EU4 because it doesn't have the golden bull passed, so theoretically it's a lot more centralized. We'll see. What is the benefit of moving these to a different file? Huh? All the demands from military. Many units use the same maintenance and construction. I mean, that makes sense then, yeah. He's addressing the fact that on the image, like the code, the image of the code of the regiment, it shows like it linking to other stuff, yeah, to other files. So it's like a tiny bit, like it's slightly. It looks like it will be slightly harder to code regiments in this than it is in CK3, but that's not saying much. And you probably would. You could probably even do without what they're doing, but who knows? How are levies raised? You raise them from pops. I like this. This is funny because all of the discussion around levies and experience, Johan makes it sound like when you raise levies, they'll actually be able to gain experience as a war goes on until they get lowered and then they stop having any, which is very interesting. That would be very funny if that actually happens, that they get slightly better, but you can't reinforce them. Yes, that is a good way of describing it, Rizan. Yeah, it's a lot. It's more. It's just a little more difficult. It's a little step above. You need 2 files. Oh dearie me, you need an extra file. But in the end, it allows you to much more easily copy paste stuff. So copy paste things or make a singular change to one thing, and it will change everything. And if you mod something, it will be much easier to compatch it if they make a change to something. So good. Yes, I like this. They're doing lots of things that seem like they will be rather fun and not very difficult to mod, which has me oh so excited to get my hands on it.
Just wait until we have to assign them pops manually to every single province, every single location.
Dark, but we do that the same way. You take, all right, This is for the North Crescent, a average town in the North Crescent population distribution. Pew, 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 pew. And this is for the South, and this is for the islands in the middle, and then just pew, 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 pew. You just throw a template out there, easy. And then you just tweak it. Or either that, or we get code monkeys who love messing with population demographics after we've made the overarching thing and thrown it out there, and then they can tweak it. And yes, it should be wonderful. Is tradition
Perchance.
No, it is not perchance. It is a fact. I decree it. We shall have the code monkeys, and it will be easy. Yes.
True, hire Yako.
No, he's a script monkey. I would not dare bother his time. The code monkey, this is
True,
Hendrix.
he's a mechanics dev, not a content dev.
Exactly. I steal Hendrix to decide to copy paste how many people live in X or Y city of what pops. Because he's very replaceable. Yes. Honestly, I don't even like that guy, to be honest. It's a good thing he's not around. Because if he heard me say that, oh dear. Is tradition meant to be closer to E4? It's neither. Understand all basic weapons being represented by weaponry, although having bows and halberds being the same is weird. Muskets. We are talking about splitting guns. They're debating it. So they're debating having guns and cannons being different things. I don't know. I don't know which I like more, between having it all just be the place where you make guns, or if there's the small arms and the big ones. Because you'd probably be making the big cannons earlier, is the thing.
Hand cannon.
Yes. Where are my hand
That
cannon
would just be
infantry?
a firearm.
Yes. Yes, that's true. I'm curious to see what they will decide in that regard. But there's no way they would make bows a thing. No, the standard weaponry is meant to be just, it's simpler, it's all in one place, it's easier to make, and it's more difficult to spread out from there. And I in fact, the more I think about it, the more I like the idea of cannons and firearms being different, to just make it even more tedious to advance. Where earlier on you might just say, you know what, I don't want to make muskets yet, that's too much work, I'm just going to make some cannon, I'm going to make some places that produce cannons, and the rest it's just going to be like pikes and crossbows. Can you truly play tall? Short answer, yes.
Yes.
Alright, but what he means is huge income.
Do you need any more?
Trade. No, I need no more clarification. I may play truly tall. Yes.
I don't think they were using cannons on boats in 37.
Yeah. I don't think they would yet. But that's what having the different types of units is for. Maybe I'm sure that it will be a big deal where you'll be able to, and this is kind of why I'm thinking I hope that they do make it so that making cannons is separate, so that you do in fact need to import the cannons, and it's specifically the cannons, that they're a different good than the firearms.
Well, muskets are relatively late into the period. Before that, you got the arquebus, which is just a shitty musket. Before that, you just have like straight up like tubes, big metal tubes that people used.
Hand cannons. Handguns rather. It's an insult on it's an insult on the Warhammer universe that they call their guns. They don't call them muskets, which they should have. They call them handguns, which are like absolutely dreadful by comparison to what they actually are in that game. But yeah, at this point in time, I'm pretty sure arquebuses are a thing. I think they've been around for a couple decades at least at this point. But they're very rare. They're very rare. I don't think you would have anyone that would have like the capability to make.
I could have swore arquebus was around like 30 years war period. Let me check.
Okay, I was about to look that up too. Uh, hmm.
In a form of long gun appeared in Europe and the Ottoman Empire during the 15th century.
Oh. Oops.
Let me check how long they were used for. As early
Oh
as
no.
1465, developed to
Oh.
penetrate plate armor around 1521.
Dark, I'm stupid.
What?
Dark. I'm pretty sure that's Tech 5 in EU4. Isn't Tech 5 in EU4 called Arquebus? I'm pretty sure.
Mm.
Should have known. Should have known. But anyway, the point is, yeah, this game is taking place an entire century before there's any sort of conventional firearms being
The
used in the.
matchlock arquebus is considered the forerunner to the flintlock musket. The musket is a large arquebus and was introduced at 1521, excuse me, but fell out of favor by the mid-16th century due to the decline of armor. The term remained in musket became a general descriptor of smoothbore gunpowder weapons.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then. They invented newer guns that weren't so
A
massive.
Habsburg
But,
commander in the mid-1560s once referred to muskets as double arquebuses.
Habsburgs. Yep. Very clever. Yep. It's a double arc. It's yep. Uh, the point is,
Used in
we
the
will not.
1500s, from what I can tell. In Europe, at least. They're used for longer in Asia.
So, point of what we've learned now from this googling is that there will probably not be anyone actively producing firearms and making infantry that use them until like a century in the game at the earliest is where you'll be able to start, I suppose. But you will be able to play rather tall if you wish, having yes high population and high tech from standard of living, huge income from trade, and fitting everything into a small area no larger than Brittany, but with enough resources to field the biggest and most powerful navy and army on the map. I don't know how you'd like accomplish all those things in an area the size of Brittany, but we'll have.
Great skill in importing a lot of food.
I bet. Realistically, I'd go for like the Low Countries for that, or
Actually, China might
Ireland.
have guns at the start.
But like actually enough
Really,
for regiments?
really, the hand cannon was widely used in China from the 13th century onward.
Huh. Well,
Although
I mean,
the arquebus was the first firearm to have a trigger. So you'd light the hand cannon, and then you'd wait for the light to hit the powder, and then poof, boom.
I'm pretty sure that's why it's called a matchlock.
No, that's not why, because arquebuses were matchlocks.
Oh. Huh. Make something a matchlock then.
Check.
Because I always thought flintlock, it's called that because you pull the trigger and it makes the flint cause a spark. Like light the trigger. When you pull the trigger, it causes the hammer to make a spark.
One moment. Matchlocks had some of the worst and most dangerous issues out of any type.
Hendrix, you don't seem very pleased. You don't seem very pleased that we would describe a hand cannon as a gun.
You know how cannons fired? How you'd have like the little stick that like lights a fuse?
Mm-hmm.
This fuse stays lit for a little bit. So after you shoot, the fuse should still be lit. And you can potentially get 2-3 shots off. But after, of course, you spend the 5 minutes reloading. But then you have to light it again. Replace the fuse.
So it does in fact have a fuse.
Yes,
Oh
it was a
god.
gun with a fuse.
That's, yeah, no wonder matchlocks were dreadful. Oh. It's called a fucking fire lance. I would not consider that a gun, more like a handheld rocket launcher. Yes. There, I've read what you said out loud. Are you listening now?
No.
Mr. Hendricks man? So what you mean to say is that you do not think that China is going to be able to mass produce firearms at game start and field armies wielding fire lances? Because, I mean, that only makes sense to me. Yeah, if you have rebels, I imagine that you could raise levies for that. Yeah. Yeah, cost 1 manpower every month. So will losses suffered by regular regiments only cost manpower, or will they? Yeah, it's both. You do in fact people die. So I think that is enough then. There weren't as many repeat questions as I've been getting used to with this, but I think that's enough. Where don't need to go through 5 of these and Torture Dark anymore.
Torture, suffer.
I see your lips move, but I don't hear any of those words, and honestly, they don't look. They don't. No, no, stop, no, no. You were way too just for that. Just for that. Where are you? Yeah, just for that. What if I don't come back into voice chat, huh? How do you feel about that? But you don't like that, huh? Well, with that, I think we can end this
It's over.
this discussion, this rant. Yes, whatever we call it. Yes. No, I won't. I won't. I love myself. You're not the only ones that love me. I also love myself.
Yeah, but you're not a person.
Anyway, thank you all for watching, and any of you who make it to the end of this VOD, you are also just as appreciated as those who watch it live and hang out. So,
Don't worry,
I
we
thank you
don't
all
love
for-
Joffrey, but we do love you.
Exactly. Right? Wait. What?